Good evening and welcome to the Diary of the Man with the Dog. It's Thursday, the 8th of June 2017, and I have just returned home after a long day. On my way, I stopped at the polling station to cast my vote. It's been a fairly underwhelming campaign. Having said that, the polls towards the end had got everybody probably just that little bit more excited. Obviously, we had the Tories presenting Mrs. May as Madam Personality. I don't know how much it worked because most people are saying that she hasn't got a personality, something that I tend to agree with. I know it's a pretty harsh thing to say and quite subjective. But then I think we all vote, from our guts and not necessarily from our head. So by tomorrow morning, we're going to find out whether we have Mrs. May back on the seat or whether we have something or someone else happening. We are just probably about less than 12 hours away from that verdict, and I probably stay up a bit late. We've always sort of stayed up most of the evenings in previous general elections. I'd probably not do the whole haul, but it'll be nice to see some of it. I think, personally speaking, about Mrs. May, there is something that I have to say that I didn't like about her, and I still don't like about her. It's not particularly party political because, everyone's pitching within a few yards of each other in terms of policies anyway, but, you do need to respect somebody you vote, and I lost that respect for Mrs. May due to something that she did when David Cameron, the previous Prime Minister, called the referendum. Even though her official stance was, to remain, she never campaigned for Cameron. Cameron desperately needed her. She had very shrewdly kept herself on the sideline, keeping both options open, and that really paid off, because she refused to campaign, and be visible, to be campaigning to remain. And yes, when the time came and Cameron had to resign, she was the right face, I suppose, the respectable vicar's daughter, pretty middle class, steady pair of hands, sort of a decent lady sort of a thing, and she was the obvious choice. But I think she played her cards quite craftily. She's a very, very shrewd woman, and that's something that didn't sit right with me. So, but having said that, I'll probably wake up tomorrow with her at the helm, and which I have to accept. So, anyway, I wouldn't go on about this, as we probably all have had enough of this. I can, sense the sense of fatigue. The great news is that, once it's done and dusted, so we can all get on with it, and there'll be just one less burden to bear. I took a break from all this, and sometimes I get to Oxford early in the mornings, so I get a little bit of time before I start work, and this morning I decided to do precisely that and have a wander around the city. So I will share a few images I took earlier. So over to my morning's wanderings in Oxford, and I'll speak to you later. If I find myself arriving a bit early in the city, I usually take a longer route to work and have a wander through Oxford. So it's great that it's pretty early in the morning, so in a few hours, it'll be teeming with tourists, and it's also exam time, so it's a great time to come and take a look. So walking past Balliol to the left, following that would be Trinity, that's Exeter College to the right, and I'm heading up to the Bodleian. So that's the old Blackwell's bookshop. It's like centuries old, and it's rather famous, looking at the Sheldonian Theatre. And let's walk in, and that's the Western Library, where you see the red banner there. It's been recently opened as an extension to the old Bodleian, so that's called the new Bodleian. And shall we walk into the Bodleian now, through one of these corridors? And it is rather special to be walking in and walking around at this time of the morning. There is almost an eerie atmosphere there. You can feel the ghosts of yesterday's. But that's the Bodleian emerging. It's also one of my favourite spots in Oxford. So as I make my way to the Bodleian, here you see ahead of me emerging is the Hertford College and the famous Oxford's Bridge of Sighs, which was built inspired by the original one in Venice. So here you get an idea of the Oxford architecture, city of, should I say, an university town of 1,000-year history. So let's walk into the courtyard in the Bodleian. Here it is, and one of my favourite places. There's some noise going on, so it is a shame that they are cleaning the windows. And here we are. The noise is ruining it a little bit, but so these are the different doors, the Divinity School and the School of Astrology and Rhetoric, that's the School of Metaphysics, that's Grammar and History, and that's Geometry and Arithmetic. So they've left all this as it used to be for hundreds of years, and that's natural philosophy. There is a story I've heard of, among many stories in Oxford, the one particular one about Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde was not particularly well known for his obedience and good behaviour as a student, and he was forever late for his exams, and during his Latin exams, which are being held here, oh dear, the noise is really spoiling it, but I will carry on nevertheless. So the noise was terrible. Anyway, I'll carry on with the story because I'd like to share the story. I love it. So Oscar Wilde was terribly late for his Latin exams, and he was rushing from his college about half a mile away to the east side of the city, which is Magdalen College, and he was late, turns up all flustered, and the examiners wanted to teach him a bit of a lesson. So they had prepared one of the most difficult paragraphs of Latin which he had to read out and simultaneously translate in English. So Oscar Wilde started reading it and translating it with absolute perfection, and the examiners were mesmerized. And then after a while they told him, "Okay, Mr. Wilde, you can stop now." And then at that point he replied, "Could you kindly hold on a second? I want to read through the end because I know what really happens in the end." So that's a bit of genius for you. I don't know how true it is, but I'd like to think it is true. But anyway, we'll carry on down towards what is one of the most beautiful squares in Oxford. That's the Radcliffe Square. So let's walk towards Radcliffe. It's only a few 100 meters away. So standing at the Radcliffe Square, isn't it beautiful? That's the Radcliffe Camera. Camera literally means a space or a room, and which is now another scientific library. That building there, beside it, is the Brasenose College, and the Bodleians here, where we have just come out at the distance, and here is Hertford. And let's slowly turn this around. So it's a beautiful time to explore the city, and if we walk towards it, to the left is All Souls College. So let's go in and show you a bit of All Souls. We are at the gates of All Souls, and let's take a glimpse of it, shall we? Not a soul inside in All Souls. It's early in the morning, and here it is, one of Oxford's 34 colleges. That's All Souls. Slowly turning around, I'm still at Radcliffe Square, and that's the Church of St Mary's, which is the university church. Stands for almost 1,000 years there. That's the back of Brasenose, and that is Radcliffe Square. So it is good morning from Oxford. Hi there, me again. Hope you tolerated my wobbly images as I walked around Oxford with my iPad, and thank you for watching. Our next adventure begins in just under a week's time, when we fly to Iceland for our main summer holidays. We are returning to Iceland exactly after a year, and it doesn't surprise us that we're returning there because we fell in love with the place, and we're looking forward to be back. So I will be vlogging from there for sure. Take care of yourself. It's now nearly 9:30 in the evening. There's still a lot of light. Let me point the camera towards the window. There's still a fair bit of daylight there. We're very close to the summer solstice, so when the days would be at its longest. So, and the polling booths are about to close, and good luck to whoever wins, and look after yourselves. Bye for now.